They stole the building I live in. That put me on the street. And I was an opera singer.
Despite this nation's reputation for robust growth and prosperity, the reality is grim. 771,480 people are homeless today, a staggering 18% jump from 2024. That translates to 24 homeless individuals for every 10,000 Americans. Across the country, you'll spot makeshift tents popping up on sidewalks, people huddling in the shadows of gleaming skyscrapers, and families scrambling to sleep in their cars because rent prices are out of reach. These scenes have become all too common. With soaring rents, heavy taxes, and a sky-high cost of living, even folks with steady jobs are struggling to make ends meet. So, how can one of the richest, most powerful nations on Earth have so many without a roof over their heads? Is there a way to turn this around? Let's dive into the 10 U.S. cities grappling with the highest homeless populations. Here, we'll uncover raw, real stories that paint a heartbreaking picture of the homelessness crisis, a stark contrast to America's prosperity, revealing a troubling truth at its core. New York City, the bustling heart of the U.S. and its most crowded urban hub, has long been seen as the golden ticket to wealth, the epicenter where the American dream blossoms for millions. But does that dream still hold true today? Sure, the city still dazzles with thousands of towering skyscrapers, lavish shopping malls, and pricey entertainment spots. Yet, beneath their gleaming facades, a grim reality is unfolding. Cardboard boxes now double as beds. Park benches serve as mattresses, and chilly alleyways turn into fleeting refugees for more than 300,000 homeless individuals. This metropolis holds the grim distinction of having the highest homeless population in America. Over the last 20 years, that figure has surged by 175%, painting a stark contrast to its image of prosperity. During the pandemic, homelessness dipped by 25% thanks to eviction bans and emergency rent aid. But those gains were short-lived. Once those measures ended, the crisis roared back with a vengeance, exposing the fragility of temporary fixes in a city where wealth and hardship collide. In the crowded Times Square, where tourists jostle to take photos beside the giant LED screens, there are hidden corners that few pay attention to. A man sits against the cold wall of a high-end fashion store. A few steps away, a group of young people in expensive outfits stepped out of the luxurious bar, laughing and joking about their upcoming vacation in Europe. Two worlds existing in parallel, just a few meters apart, yet infinitely distant. Midtown, once a bustling business hub, is now seeing its stores gradually close, not due to a lack of tourists, but because of more unpredictable issues. Businesses are worried as customers complain about safety, as the entrances to their stores have become shelters for the homeless. Although the city has spent millions of dollars on homeless support programs, the big question remains, how many people are these programs actually helping? Community outreach groups still walk the streets, recording conversations with the homeless, but no one knows if they are actually receiving help. Let's wait and see if this policy can help restore the city's once dreamy image. New York has always been the city of dreams, but for tens of thousands of people, that dream is being tested like never before. Let's head to the next city. Los Angeles sparkles with Hollywood celebrities, millionaires cruising in high-end cars, and fancy restaurants where a single meal can set you back thousands of dollars. Yet this glamorous city also shelters countless people without a place to call home, unable to scrape together even a few bucks for a simple meal. Known as a global icon and one of America's most crowded, vibrant cities, Los Angeles is grappling with a staggering homelessness crisis. In 2024, the city saw a 28% spike in homelessness, pushing the count to a record 11,141 people. That's a 55% jump since 2013 and a 41% rise in just 4 years, turning this issue into a heartbreaking reality for too many locals, not just a cold statistic. Nowhere is this crisis more visible than in Skid Row, where the city's homelessness problem hits hardest. It's the hub for shelters, food banks, and resources, but it's a rough, unsettling place to live. One resident's story paints a vivid picture, Skid Row offers what people need, yet safety is never a sure thing, leaving residents on edge. Rows of tents line the streets here, starkly contrasting with the city's shimmering skyscrapers in the distance. So, what's driving Los Angeles' homelessness surge? The skyrocketing cost of living is the big culprit. The average home price has climbed to about $912,500, nearly triple the national average, making owning a house feel like a far-off fantasy for most. Renting isn't much easier. The average two-bedroom apartment now costs $2,570 a month, nearly $1,200 more than the national average, forcing people to choose between paying rent and covering basics like food or medicine, often leading to life on the streets. Add in Los Angeles' sprawling size and heavy car dependency, traffic jams stretch commute times, and gas prices here run 30 to 40% above the national average, and it's clear why public transit, which isn't as robust or convenient as in other big cities, leaves many scrambling for options. Can the city find effective solutions to balance prosperous development with the urgent need for safety and social stability? These questions remain unanswered, but one thing is certain: Los Angeles is at a crucial crossroads where policy decisions and social interventions will shape the future of this city. If you want to feel the harshest winter in America, head to Chicago. The freezing temperatures might not be a problem if you have a thick coat and a warm home, but for the homeless, it's a fight for survival. On days when Chicago residents rush indoors to escape the bitter cold and heavy snowfall, others have no choice but to endure it. Maria Ganopoulos has been living in a makeshift tent for the past 3 years with her husband, Jermaine, along with their dog and kitten. When the temperature drops so low that ice forms on car windshields, stepping outside is brutal. But for Maria, this isn't just a temporary hardship, it's her everyday reality. Sidewalks lined with plastic bags and cardboard boxes tell the silent story of those with nowhere to go. Maria, despite her struggles, is still luckier than many. Just a few blocks away, some don't even have a tent. Their only protection against the brutal cold is a few thin blankets and scraps of cardboard, barely enough to shield them from the icy wind. Chicago was once a symbol of American industry, but the decline of factories has caused a wave of job losses for workers. Manual labor jobs are becoming increasingly scarce, while housing prices are skyrocketing. Those who once had a roof over their heads now face the harsh choice: eat well or keep the accommodation for another month. Many homeless people in Chicago have applied for housing multiple times over the past 2 years, but have still not been accepted. They wonder what more they can do when even basic needs are out of reach. When some people are watching the snow fall from warm homes, the homeless in Chicago are facing hunger, cold, and the uncertainty of tomorrow. In the West Loop, amidst the bustling pace of the city, they still exist. But how much longer until they truly see hope? Las Vegas, a city of dazzling lights, extravagant casinos, and fortunes won or lost in a single night. Known as the entertainment capital of the world, this place never sleeps, drawing millions of tourists each year eager to test their luck at roulette tables and pour money into flashing slot machines. But beyond the glitz and glamour, there's a hidden reality few ever notice. Las Vegas is also one of the country's biggest hotspots for homelessness. Not everyone here gets to enjoy the luxury. Nearly 20% of residents, even those with jobs, still can't afford rent. But what many don't realize, even locals, is that beneath the neon glow lies an entire hidden world. Deep underground, in the city's massive sewer system, over 1,500 people have been forced to take refuge. These tunnels, standing between 6 and 15 feet high, are damp, dark, and unforgiving. Within them, the homeless have built makeshift shelters using cardboard, scraps of fabric, and whatever they can salvage from the waste of the city's wealthy. Meanwhile, just above them, rows of luxury high-rises sit empty, their polished glass windows reflecting a city of excess, creating a stark and unsettling contrast. In response to the increasing homelessness situation, the Las Vegas authorities have implemented strict measures to control it. Those who sleep on the sidewalks or set up tents on the streets can be fined up to $1,000 or even face 6 months in jail. Some homeless people are arranged to sleep on concrete in white-painted rectangular boxes in a parking lot over 7 square kilometers, an image that surprises many. Can Las Vegas continue to be a paradise of entertainment for tourists? But can this city find a more humane solution to care for the people left behind? Or will the dazzling neon lights forever conceal the shadows that exist right beneath its surface? For every tourist enjoying a dream vacation in San Diego, there's a local struggling to keep a roof over their head. This shocking reality is unfolding in one of America's most beautiful coastal cities. Known for its stunning beaches, endless sunshine, and booming tourism industry, San Diego hides a crisis that's growing worse by the day. Rent prices here are soaring 63% higher than the national average, making homeownership nearly impossible for many. According to the San Diego Homeless Services Agency, over 10,000 people were homeless in 2023, either living on the streets or in temporary shelters, marking a staggering 22% increase in just 1 year. As landlords hike up rent to cash in on the flood of tourists, more residents are being forced into homelessness. In downtown areas like East Village, entire communities of unhoused people now live openly on sidewalks, in parks, and near busy intersections. Many have built makeshift shelters from old tarps, abandoned cars, and whatever materials they can find. Some have taken refuge beneath the city's drainage system, while others camp along remote canyons, hoping to stay out of sight, even if it means sacrificing safety. To cope with this crisis, the city is testing low-cost container house projects, a quick and cost-effective solution to provide temporary housing for the homeless. These small houses only cost about $20,000 to $50,000 to build, much lower than the cost of traditional housing. Experts hope that if expanded, this project could help thousands of people reintegrate into society. San Diego is still a livable city, but not everyone has the opportunity to enjoy its prosperity. Are the current solutions sufficient to provide a home for those who are being left behind? California has not one but two cities on this list, raising serious questions about what's happening in the state. While New York is known for building fortunes, San Jose is home to some of the biggest tech giants in the world: Google, Apple, and Meta. It's one of the wealthiest cities in the country, with the average household pulling in $125,000 a year. But despite the city's prosperity, it's impossible to ignore the growing homelessness crisis. Right beside sleek corporate offices and upscale neighborhoods, thousands of people are forced to live in RVs, tents, and even directly on the sidewalks. A 2023 report from San Jose officials revealed that the city's homeless population had surpassed 6,340, marking an 11% spike from the previous year. The driving force behind this surge: sky-high housing costs. Rent for a one-bedroom apartment averages a staggering $3,000 a month, making it unaffordable even for many full-time workers. In fact, around 20% of San Jose's homeless population still have jobs, but their paychecks simply don't stretch far enough. One former Google software engineer, who once had a solid salary, found himself jobless after a massive wave of layoffs in 2022. Unable to secure another position fast enough, his savings vanished, and he was eventually forced out of his apartment. Now, he lives in an RV parked near Highway 101. With a bitter smile, he shared, "I used to write code for products millions of people use, and now I shower in public restrooms." The San Jose government is making efforts to find solutions to control this situation. Some measures being considered include rent control, building more affordable housing, and raising the minimum wage to $20 per hour to help workers cope with the high cost of living. Will these policies be enough to narrow the ever-widening wealth gap in the heart of Silicon Valley? Or will San Jose continue to be a paradoxical symbol of wealth and inequality? Dallas, a bustling city with skyscrapers illuminated by bright lights, where large businesses and upscale restaurants create a fast-paced lifestyle, but amidst those glittering downtown streets, there is a reality that few pay attention to. The homeless are being forced away from the city center, pushing them into remote areas in the suburbs. According to current regulations, sleeping on sidewalks or in the downtown area of Dallas is prohibited, and those who violate this may be fined or forced to move. This policy leaves hundreds of people with no choice but to seek shelter under highway overpasses, in unsanitary vacant lots, or on less traveled streets. The temporary shelters are overcrowded, while affordable housing projects for low-income individuals are very scarce. Most of them do not have the opportunity to return to their old lives because they cannot afford rent or find jobs. Dallas now truly needs a more humane policy such as building housing specifically for the homeless, reforming laws to protect them from discrimination, and creating more job opportunities to help them reintegrate into society. Philadelphia is a city where history, culture, and community pride come together, but beneath that image lies a harsh reality. The city's homelessness rate is among the highest on the East Coast. In 2023, an estimated 4,500 people were homeless, with over 950 sleeping on the streets each night. One of the hardest-hit areas is Kensington, a neighborhood once known for its booming industry, now infamous as a gathering place for the homeless and those struggling with addiction. Many even call it the opioid capital of America. Walking through its streets, it's impossible to miss the frail, lost figures lingering on sidewalks, a stark reminder of the crisis gripping the city. Philadelphia officials recognize that tougher action is needed to address the root causes. Free vocational training programs are being rolled out, offering the homeless a chance to rebuild their lives. In 2023 alone, over 1,200 people enrolled in these programs, helping them secure stable jobs after years of living on the margins of society. At the same time, the city is expanding mandatory rehabilitation programs and increasing medical support, with plans to add 250 more beds for those struggling with addiction. Summer in Phoenix is not only a challenge but also affects the health of many people. With temperatures frequently exceeding 40°C and even reaching 48°C on some days, the homeless in this city are facing a real challenge. Under the scorching sun, the streets become a cause for concern. The sidewalks can reach 60°C. The heat makes us apprehensive. However, it seems that the homeless have no other choice. They are forced to move to areas such as under overpasses, in parks, or parking lots where the temperature is still high, but at least there is some shade. Some people even choose to sleep during the day and wander at night to avoid the heat. In order to help the homeless, several nonprofit organizations in Phoenix have implemented humanitarian initiatives. Hundreds of free water stations have been set up throughout the city, providing clean water and electrolyte drinks. Some cooling stations have also been built, allowing the homeless to come in and escape the heat during peak hours. The cause of homelessness in Phoenix is not only due to the weather, but also the housing crisis. In the past 5 years, rental prices have increased by about 80%, while the incomes of many workers have only seen negligible growth. Many families have been pushed out onto the streets because they cannot keep up with inflation, and there are no rent protection policies to address this situation. Phoenix is implementing social housing projects combined with mobile health stations. Affordable housing units are being built to provide temporary shelter for the homeless, while mobile health stations offer health checkups and emergency services for those affected by the extreme heat. However, with the increasingly severe pace of climate change, the question arises, are these solutions enough to save those who are struggling with the heat every day? San Francisco, a city known for housing corporate giants like Wells Fargo and Twitter, stands as a symbol of innovation and wealth. But beneath its booming tech industry, it's grappling with a homelessness crisis so severe that it accounts for nearly 1/3 of the nation's homeless population, trailing only behind Los Angeles and New York City. The problem is most visible in neighborhoods like Tenderloin, where sidewalks are lined with tents, trash piles up, and unsanitary conditions have become a daily reality. Frustrated residents are leaving the city, feeling that the worsening situation has made it unlivable. One of the biggest factors driving homelessness in San Francisco is the extreme cost of housing. With an average rent of over $3,000 a month for a one-bedroom apartment, finding an affordable place to live is nearly impossible for low-income individuals. Even those with stable jobs but modest salaries are just one financial setback away from losing their homes. For them, although each city has its own characteristics, the core reasons behind the alarming increase in homelessness include high living costs, a lack of affordable housing, and inadequate support services. Without comprehensive and sustainable solutions, homelessness will continue to pose significant challenges for the future of American cities. Only with comprehensive solutions such as developing affordable housing and expanding support services can these cities move towards a future where everyone has safe and stable housing, thereby building a foundation for the development of the entire community. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Your support really helps us grow. I'm sure you'll love what's coming next. If there's a country you'd like us to explore, drop a comment below and let us know. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.